So you know my name, and you know that I like to do a little bit of crafting in my spare time, but that's about it, right? So I figure while we talk all things candles, I'll do a bit of a get to know me, telling you a little bit about myself. But first, here's my face. You won't see it very often on this channel, but I do have another channel that follows my lock journey. I haven't been on there very much, but I'm soon to be back. Yes, I take strange pictures. I'm an alien. I have been testing out candles for my candle making process for like the last 2 years. And what I found in my studies is candle making is a bit of a science project. You have to be mindful of the type of wick, the coloring, the type of wax, the math on the fragrance, etc., etc. So that's what I want to focus on today in this video. As you'll see, I'm pouring some tester candles right now. One of the things I focus on is a slow pour. I don't care what your temperature is, the type of wax you're using, or any of that. I think for the perfect candle, you need to have a very slow pour. I have been testing candles for about the last 2 years, off and on. I first decided to get into the candle making business about 6 years ago, a few years before the COVID era. But I typically do things at a slow pace. You may have noticed that there are no wicks in the candles. Not adding the wicks while you are testing makes for a much easier and cheaper way to actually do your candle testing without wasting so many wicks. So what I'll do is after they pour and they harden up, I'll add the wicks at a later time frame and then burn them about 2 weeks later to see if that wick is successful in the burn. Adding that time frame plus the fact that I keep buying different candle containers and I only do this a couple of times a month, it would explain why it's been 2+ years that I've been specifically studying candle making. I actually started my first business back in 2011, but I'll talk about that a little later. As you can see, all of these tester candles have wood wicks that I'm going to be burning. I installed them about a day after the wax hardened. Right now I'm using a heat gun to clean up the rim of the candle jars for the splashes and for when it's not melting properly. I always have a great pour. It's just for this purple candle vessel, my thermometer fell inside of it and splashed all over the place when I was doing the first pour. I've gone through many different types of wicks for these particular candles, but I just can't find the perfect flame per se. You have to be very careful about candle flames. And I know as a person who would buy a candle, you're not really thinking about that type of thing. But when you are making it, you have to make sure that the candle is safe. So even with this one, as you can see, as I melt the top, that wick is still too short and is being drowned by the wax. I fixed that later on. I just poured out some of the wax to fix it. Each wood wick and your normal cotton wick or what have you needs to be at least a 1/4 inch above the wax. Part of my difficulty with these candles is it's hard to get a good flame when you add color to your candles, and I also like them to be highly fragrant. No shade to other candle makers, but I think candles are very boring when they don't have, you know, a little spice, a little color, a little flavor to, you know, to the wax. But it does make it a lot more difficult to come up with the perfect candle. So on the basics of candles, let's talk about the wax choice. There are a few different variations of the type of wax you can use with your candles. You have soy wax, you have a blend of coconut and soy wax, you have paraffin wax, You have apricot coconut blend wax, which is fairly new. And of course you have beeswax. And that's not all of the different types of wax blends. That's just what I can come up with. Another thing you have to consider is your choice of wick. Now what you see here is I'm poking holes into the candles, the container candles, and I'm using a chopstick. You definitely want to have a set of chopsticks when you are working with your candle making process. They are very useful. And with choosing your wax, you need to properly choose the wicks. So you have cotton wicks, hemp wicks, beeswax coated wicks, wood wicks, so forth and so on. There are many choices that you need to make out there, and you have to do the math and calculate to make sure it all goes together. Now we all know that candles were initially created with beeswax in order to light your home long before electricity came around. These days they're burned for their aesthetic value, the aromatherapy, the ambience of the home decor, or for emergency lighting on those days when your power isn't working, because it's 2023 and we still can't get that together. But alright, before I go off on a tangent, let me get back to what you're seeing on the screen. So what I'm showing you here is the most important part of the candle making process, the burn. I talked about it a little bit before. As you can see, the flames in this apothecary jar, they are dancing like crazy. What you want to notice though, whether you're making candles or just burning them in your home, you want to make sure that your flames are not dancing too much and that your actual candle flames are not burning taller than 1 inch from the oil, because that can get really dangerous. My crazy behind decided to use this really expensive wax that is the hardest thing to wick, especially when I'm using this color. So we're going to start all over again for like the 5th time. I have been literally working with these particular candle jars for like several months, and I can't find the perfect balance between the wicks, the flame heat, and the wax and the color, etc., etc. So we're going to start over. I have had some success with other jars, but I really wanted to put those out this summer, but I'm still working on them. Now, this particular glass candle vessel is my favorite, and as you can see, the flames are not dancing, the candle flames are not too tall, and the wax is melting. I'm just not able to get them all the way to the edge yet. Fast forward, this is another day. Actually, this was just a few days ago. I've switched everything over to wood wicks. So far, so good. The mint, the green one, that's burning good. The purple one was great, but I kind of wanted to change that up. As you can see, this high flame in the back, she's just all over the place. The black one has been the hardest because it's actually black colorant and it does not do well with wicks. And this apothecary jar is driving me crazy. So before I end the video, just to give you a little bit of context about me. So I do this business on the side, but I also work 40 hours per week. My goal is to retire soon, and I want to start hitting up all of the market shops and the farmers markets and just do this full time. The candle on the screen is one of the one of the few that are currently ready and will be available on my site. It's called Moonflowers. It's a beautiful candle, but I just wanted to let you all know that I'll be coming back soon and to stay tuned. Ta-ta for now.